The real fellow, the most authentic being, is not sane, but insane. The most beautiful being is not caught up in the head, but in the heart. The world calls such a person mad. But in reality, it is these madmen who have revolutionized the human world, who have invented many wonders, and who have shown this world a new way of living by sharing a fresh perspective and making the world believe in the power of possibility. Always remember, only a great person has a touch of madness, and only a person having a certain touch of madness can become great. Greatness and madness goes hand in hand. Greatness and madness are next door neighbors, and they often borrow each other's sugar. Madness is that state when you are out of the mind, and the moment you are out of your mind in a conscious way, you give birth to many new ideas, new innovations, because imagination is possible only when you are out of the mind, when the logic is dropped, totally dropped. One of the greatest scientists, Albert Einstein, says, "Logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere." Typical so-called sane people are always trapped in the four walls of knowledge. They just gather knowledge, they become parrots. Knowledge can never let you imagine the beyond, because knowledge is limited to your brain, and the brain cannot imagine, the heart can. Albert Einstein says, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. A so-called sane logical person is always trapped in his books and has gathered accumulated knowledge. He forgets the fact that the true sign of intelligence is not how much knowledge you have, but how wild is your imagination. Albert Einstein says, the true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. And you will be able to imagine only when you have no head, and that's Ketu. Ashwini is Ketu's nakshatra. The very first nakshatra of the zodiac cycle belongs to Ketu, and it primarily depicts the Kshatriya flavor of Ketu. Kshatriya is an Indian word which means the warrior. Ashwini represents a warrior who will fight till the last drop of his blood, but will never give up. The class of warrior is addressed as Kshatriya in the Indian society. To fight in the battlefield, to mount on the horse called Ashwa in Sanskrit, and to defeat the opponent is the true essence, nature of a Kshatriya, a warrior. Always remember, whether it is on the battlefield or in the meditation room, unless you are a warrior, you cannot win, you cannot succeed. It is only the spirit of a warrior that can help you succeed in the material world as well as in the spiritual world. And that is how many great warriors have succeeded much faster in their spiritual journey, because when the spirit is of a warrior, then and only then can you experience the beyond, the unseen, the godly. Great warriors on the battlefield and great saints in the monasteries are born only when Ketu, the source, stands firm behind them. Without Ketu's blessings, you can never do the unimaginable. You cannot become great. Greatness comes only when there is a certain touch of madness. And this madness comes only when you slip out of your mind. And this slipping out of the mind is made possible only by the blessings of Sri Ketu. In this human world, there are many millionaires and billionaires, but people remember the warrior. People remember Maharana Pratap. People remember Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. People remember Samrat Prithviraj Chauhan because their contribution is so great that it can happen only when there is no mind but only the heart. When there is no logic but only love, deep love for their motherland. A true warrior is not much focused on killing or fighting, but in safeguarding the future of his people, his country. Warriors are not what you think of as warriors. The warrior is not someone who fights because no one has the right to take another life. The warrior for us is one who sacrifices himself for the good of others. His task is to take care of the elderly, the defenseless, those who cannot provide for themselves, and above all, the children, the future of humanity. To save his people, the warrior fights like a hero. He then doesn't care about his life, his security. He just fights like a brave man. There is no place for head or logic, and that is where Ketu plays a significant role. A great warrior is therefore born only with the blessings of Ketu. Remember, Ketu is the right hand of Guru, the righteousness, the dharma, the justice. When a warrior is fighting on the battlefield, he fights keeping his head aside. Because the head blocks the courage, and to a soldier, to a warrior, to a kshatriya, courage is the primary source that enables him to be adventurous. Courage enables him to take risks, and then he fights. He fights like a true warrior, right, left, all directions. He moves his sword, and just the way you cut the leaves of the tree, he cuts the throats and the heads of the opponent army. Ketu plays a vital role in a warrior's life because unless there is a certain madness to your being, you cannot cut the throats and heads of the enemy army. A sane person can never fight like a warrior. To become a great warrior, there has to be a certain madness to your being, which only Ketu can bring along. The warrior knows that he is free to choose his desires, and he makes these decisions with courage, detachment, and sometimes with just a touch of madness. Ashwini brings this touch of madness, and that is why Ashwini has been closely related to the horse, the Ashwa. That is what they call it in Sanskrit. Because during the old times, wars on the battlefield were fought by mounting on the horse. The relation between the warrior and his horse is beyond the power of expression. Maharana Pratap, one of the greatest warriors of the Indian subcontinent, and his heroic horse Chetak, or Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and his heroic horse Moti. History has witnessed many such deep close relation that the great warriors of this human world shared with the heroic horse, the Ashwa. Ashwini, ruled by Ketu, precisely has all the qualities of a heroic horse. And remember, Horse and warrior are not two separate beings, they are one. Oneness always exists between the warrior and his horse. And so the horse always falls in the Kshatriya sect because the horse has all the qualities of a warrior. And just the way a true warrior has a touch of madness, the warrior's heroic horse also has a certain touch of madness. A true warrior is also a good learner. He has a certain deep desire of learning. In our Indian history, there was one such warrior. He was not a Hindu. His name was Jalaluddin Akbar. And he was the greatest Mughal emperor of the whole Indian subcontinent. Although Akbar during his initial days had been very ruthless towards the Hindus, still during his later years he was the only Muslim emperor of India who showed much compassion towards Hindus, and he was the only wise Muslim ruler after many centuries. A time came when Akbar was no more a Muslim but had converted himself to a new religion called Din-e-Ilahi. The founder of this new religion was Akbar himself. Din-e-Ilahi was a religion that was essentially an ethical system, prohibiting such sins as lust, sensuality, slander, and pride, and enjoining the virtues of pity, prudence, abstinence, and kindness. The soul was encouraged to purify itself through yearning for God. There was no sacred scriptures or a priestly hierarchy in this new religion, Din-e-Ilahi. In practice, however, the Din-e-Ilahi functioned as a personality cult contrived by Akbar around his own persons. Members of the religion were handpicked by Akbar according to their devotion to him. Although a great human being and a wise man, Akbar was illiterate. Much of his early years were spent in many wars and the many complexities of administration, and so he had no time to learn. That was the primary reason for his attraction towards wise men. That is how he formed the ministry of 9 wise men, called as Navaratna, meaning 9 jewels of his court. But it is said that Akbar was not happy with these 9 wise men because he could not learn anything from them, and so one day he called all the 9 wise men in his court and said, "You are here and you are the wisest men in today's world, but I have not been able to learn anything from you. What is the matter? You all are here and yet I remain the same. Then what are you doing here?" The 9 wise men remained silent. After all, they were standing before the most powerful man on the planet, Emperor Akbar. So they could not utter a single word, but there was a child. The child had come along with one of the wise men, and listening to Akbar's words, the child laughed out loudly. Emperor Akbar looked at the child and said, "Why are you laughing? It is insulting to the court. Seems your father hasn't taught any manners to you." The child said, "I am laughing because these 9 wise men are silent, and I know why they are silent, and I also know why you haven't been able to learn anything from them." Akbar stared at the child's face. A child's face looks innocent but also very ancient. Whenever a child is very innocent, you can see a deep ancientness in his eyes as well. Because no child is a child, he has lived, experienced much in his past births and rebirths. He carries all the wisdom from his past births. Akbar said, "Then can you teach me something?" The child said, "Yes." Akbar said, "Then teach." The child said, "Then you will have to follow me. Come down here where I am sitting, and I will sit on the throne. Then ask like a disciple and not like a master." And it is said that Akbar understood. Those 9 wise men had been absolutely useless. He could not learn, not because they couldn't teach, but because he was not ready. He was not receptive, and he was not humble enough. It is said that Akbar sat down and the child sat on the throne, and he said, "Now ask like a disciple, not like an emperor." Akbar never asked anything. He thanked the child, touched his feet, and said, "There is no need to ask. Just by sitting in a humble attitude near your feet, I have learned much." A true warrior is humble. There is a very old saying, "If you are not a humble person, your horse will make you one." That is how the ancient seers relate Saturn with the horse, because both Saturn and horse likes only those men and women who are humble by nature. Humbleness is the basic thing. Even without a wise man, if you are humble, you will learn much. You can learn from the trees and the springs and the clouds and the winds. If you are humble, the whole existence becomes a teacher to you. But if you are not humble and a Buddha is there, no intimacy happens. A Buddha is around you, but no intimacy happens. You are not humble. You would like to learn, but without bending, without bringing down your ego. You can learn only when you are humble, only when you are ready to bring down your ego. And only a humble man can learn. Only humbleness can help you touch the skies. Instead of having 100 disciples, only one disciple is enough. One who is humble and not demanding. One who is understanding and compassionate by heart. One who is patient and not impatient. Ashwini Nakshatra is the warrior nakshatra, and a true warrior always has a compassionate heart. Ketu is 0, Shunya. Ashwini is therefore the beginning, the start point of the zodiac galaxy. Ashwini is the first nakshatra, the warrior nakshatra, the nakshatra that thinks less and feels more, and that is how they have a touch of madness to their being, which makes them heroic, dynamic, and dashing by nature. Rahu's arrival in Ashwini Nakshatra simply exaggerates the warrior qualities, makes the person a high risk taker, and highly impulsive by nature, which compels the native to quickly react. And when you react, you invite trouble, you invite more miseries in your life. Always remember, when you react, you are giving away your power. When you respond, you are staying in control of yourself. The very first lesson for Rahu in Ashwini Nakshatra natives is to control their impulsive nature and stop reacting and start responding. Never react, always respond. Responding is based on facts, the present and curiosity. Reacting is based on emotions, the past and defensiveness. Which one you use will alter your interactions with others completely. On social platforms, there are occasions when some negative, utterly cheap people comment to hurt you, to abuse you, to offend you. But it is up to you whether you want to react or you just want to ignore. Because that's what the wise do. They just ignore the noise and respond to the voice. Noise makes no sense. Voice makes sense because it is the voice of your heart, and the heart is always right. When a person comments positively, then the wise understands and gives a response. The wise is perfectly aware of what is noise and what is voice. Noise is of the mind, and the mind is a monkey. Voice is of the heart, and the heart is intelligent. A man enslaved by his mind will make a lot of noise. A man following his heart will always voice out his feelings, his understanding. A man of heart never reacts but always responds, and that too only when it is necessary, when his heart directs him to respond. The wise respond, the foolish react. The wise think and then act, the foolish act and then regret. Shallow people always react, wise people always respond. Reacting means you are no more in control of yourself. Responding means you are in control of yourself. Response can be in many ways. You may just disconnect or block those who create a lot of noise and disturbance in your life. Or you may simply take legal action if someone is commenting or trying to hurt you badly. So many actions can be taken without reacting, and that's what a wise man, a wise woman does. The wise is always in control of his self. Rahu in Ashwini natives should also learn to be in control of yourself. Sports, racing, shooting sport, Rahu in Ashwini natives do well in all kind of sports. Sport and sporty nature comes to them by default. The man with Rahu in Ashwini will never hesitate to say those three magical words, I love you, to the woman of his life. However, these natives also don't take much time to break up. If they find that their partner is cheating them or taking undue advantage of their goodness. So you see, these natives are quick in action, quick to fall in love and quick to break up as well. Action, movement, quickness and constant change is what these natives like, and so they get bored quickly. For a girlfriend, it is a challenge to retain a boyfriend having Rahu in Ashwini. She got to be innovative and constantly present something new before him so that he remains engaged. Similarly, for a boyfriend, it is a challenge to retain a girlfriend having Rahu in Ashwini. He needs to bring something new to the table so that his girlfriend remains interested in him and not break up with him. The most effective way to keep a Rahu Ashwini girlfriend or boyfriend engaged is by constantly giving them pleasant surprises. Life is always interesting when there are many surprises on your way. Life has so many surprises, and when life has so many surprises, boredom never settles in you. When it comes to spiritual practice, I always recommend walking meditation to men and women born in Ashwini Nakshatra or with Rahu in Ashwini Nakshatra. Because these natives always like to remain in action, and so walking meditation becomes more appealing for them than meditating in a sitting position. Walking meditation is an effective way of integrating meditation into your daily life. What is walking meditation? Walking meditation is very simple. When you walk, just walk. Don't think about anything, just walk. By doing so, you bring your wavering mind to here and now. And meditation begins the moment your mind is in the now moment. When you are walking on the street, just try to walk. Don't do anything else. It looks simple, but it is not. It looks as if we all are doing it. It is not so. When you are walking, your mind is doing 1,000 things. Move with every step. Just walk. Buddha has said, when you are walking, just walk. Be in the act totally. Don't allow your mind to move somewhere else. When you walk, just walk. Walking meditation is simply a state where you just walk with absolute no thoughts, no mind. The other type of walking meditation is when you concentrate on just one thought by chanting the holy mantra. And that indeed is also a beautiful way of meditating while walking. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi says, meditation is sticking to one thought. That single thought keeps away other thoughts. Distraction of mind is a sign of its weakness. By constant meditation, it gains strength. This single thought can be your mantra. Chanting while walking is the most beautiful and easiest way to control the wavering mind while providing the necessary exercise to the physical body. Always remember, every coin has two sides, positive and negative. Similarly, Rahu in Ashwini can give birth to a terrorist or a patriot. Remember, the risk is the same, the dashingness is the same, the willingness to die for a certain cause is the same, but the nature of the cause is different. A terrorist attacks because he wants to cause trouble. A patriot attacks because he wants freedom for his people, for his country. Ashwini Rahu can go either way, a terrorist or a patriot. Ashwini has immense willpower and strength of a horse. And on top of that, when the Rahu comes in Ashwini, then you got a man who is fired up with a certain purpose, certain mission. Whether it is the Hollywood movie The Patriot or Bollywood movie Gadar, the hero is just the way a Rahu in Ashwini native is, full of action, full of dynamism, full of life. He has a certain mission. Benjamin Martin in the movie The Patriot had a mission to liberate America from the hands of the Britishers. And Tara Singh in the movie Gadar had a mission to rescue his wife from Pakistan and return to India safe and sound. In both scenarios, the hero has a certain madness to his character. He takes many risks. He risks his life, shows great courage. That's how Rahu in Ashwini is. Humanity and being human is the very essence of Rahu Ashwini natives. You all must remember that Ashwini is the godly nakshatra, the only nakshatra ruled by Ketu that is mentioned by the ancient seers as a Devgan nakshatra, meaning godly nakshatra, because Ashwini primarily has the qualities of a true Kshatriya, a true warrior. And in the ancient days, the king, the Kshatriya, was worshipped as God. A king would sacrifice his whole life for the betterment of his people. And so people also would love their king and worship him as a god. Even today, After over 500 years, people in India remember Maharana Pratap, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, Emperor Akbar, because these great men had literally lived for the betterment of their people, their country. Emperor Akbar is the only Mughal emperor who is fondly remembered by many Hindus. And he was the only Mughal emperor who died not as a Muslim but as a follower of a new religion that he himself had formulated, the religion called Din-e-Ilahi. Among all the three nakshatras that come under the rule of Ketu, Ashwini is the most dynamic, dashing, and quick in action. Many times native born on Ashwini do something that they never had imagined in their life. And Rahu just fuels in and the person executes courageous actions, something like you all may have seen in the recent Bollywood movie Tanhaji, the Unsung Warrior. Great bravery, great courage, great spirits are born with Rahu in Ashwini. The subtle desire is to be in action, show dynamism, and do the unbelievable, the unimaginable. It is a good placement for a stunt artist, a sportsman, a military man, a soldier. To be a soldier, one needs that special gene, that extra something that enables a person to jump into one-on-one combat. Rahu in Ashwini loves combat because then all the fire within his being comes out in the forefront and the native defeats the enemies, or even if he has to face defeat, he dies like a true warrior, like a roaring lion. Ketu rules three nakshatras, Ashwini, Magha and Mula. However, each of these three nakshatra has a specific tattva, essence to showcase. Ashwini, the Devgan, the godly nakshatra, brings forth a Raja Yogi. Magha, the Rakshasgana nakshatra, brings forth a Raja Bhogi. Mula, the Rakshasgana nakshatra, brings forth a Raja Drohi. How beautiful is this? Always remember, Raja Drohi cannot be labeled as bad because at times when the ruling king is corrupt, then someone like Chanakya has to stand against the ruling king. He may be labeled as a Raja Drohi by the king's men, but in reality he is going against the throne because he cannot stand the injustice and the suffering of his men at the hands of the corrupt king. So never be quick to judge. A knife is not bad because the same knife can also be used to save a woman, a child from corrupt hands. Out of all the three nakshatras of Ketu, Ashwini is the most pious by nature. With its arrival, a new beginning is guaranteed. A better society is guaranteed. These are natives who has the potential to bring freedom from oppression, corruption and injustice. Rahu in Ashwini is indeed the Robin Hood of the poor. Robin Hood did not steal from the rich and give to the poor. Robin Hood took the people's stolen stuff back from an oppressive criminal government and gave it to the people that produced and owned the stuff in the first place. Someone has to stand up against the corrupt rule. Someone has to risk everything. Someone has to jump first and then think. And Rahu Ashwini is the one who jumps first. Only a man who jumps without thinking much becomes a Buddha. Only a man who jumps first experiences God, sees the unseen, the beyond. This nature of risking everything, not thinking much, and crossing all limits just to do the unimaginable is what comes your way when a person has a Rahu in Ashwini, receiving positive aspects in the birth chart. Falling in love, risking everything for love, chasing a certain goal, a mission, and being always action oriented is what Rahu in Ashwini bring along. Someone has to start, and always the one who starts is courageous by nature, is a dashing, is a dynamic, is a risk taker, is the hero. Ashwini is the start, the starting point, the starting nakshatra of the zodiac cycle. And Rahu in Ashwini simply loves to initiate a project, loves to start a series, to start a business, to start a relationship. Start is the word. That is why Ashwini Nakshatra is highly regarded as the most positive nakshatra by the ancient seers. The seers have addressed Ashwini Nakshatra as the godly nakshatra. Whenever you have to start something new, be it a project, new construction, new shop, or a new relationship, Ashwini is the most suitable nakshatra because Ashwini triggers a start, an auspicious start. From spiritual perspective, Ashwini is a wonderful nakshatra to initiate a person as a disciple. Also, Ashwini is great to start reading the Holy Scripture or to start a certain spiritual deep penance, sadhana. Only a true warrior, only a man who has a touch of madness can succeed in his spiritual journey. And that makes Ashwini and Rahu in Ashwini significant in many ways. Because this Rahu brings the dashing, the courage, and courage is indeed one of the significant key that can help you progress spiritually. Meditation is the greatest courage and the greatest adventure because even on a battlefield you are not so near to death. Even if you feel you are near death, it is only physical death. But in meditation, slowly you are overcoming the mind. And to overcome the monkey mind is not a child's play. You need a tremendous courage. You need patience. And you need deep faith. A coward cannot succeed in the spiritual world. In fact, a coward would never enter the spiritual domain because to become a Buddha, you need the courage to renounce everything. Sex, money, power. Prince Siddhartha dropped everything. He decided to live in danger. He decided to go into the deep forests and live in the neighborhood of wild animals. He rejected a secure life and embraced insecure life. And that is when he became Gautam Buddha. And that is how you all can also become Buddha, because Buddha is not a name, it is a title, a state of being aware. When Buddha was asked, "Who are you?" Buddha said, "I am awareness. I do not belong to any category because every category brings identity and I have no identity. I am just the awareness." To attain the higher realms of consciousness, to experience God in the true sense, one has to get out of his comfort zone and take risks. Always remember, death is secure, life is insecurity. One who really wants to live has to live in danger, in constant danger. One who wants to reach to the peaks has to take the risk of getting lost. One who wants to climb the highest peak has to take the risk of falling from somewhere, slipping down. Ashwini Rahu can take risks, and because they take risks, they earn more and attain fame and wisdom. The deity of Ashwini is the three Ashwini Kumars. They are also said to be the physicians of God. Fast, quick, instant. These are the words that Ashwini Rahu natives like. These natives are quick to judge, quick to express their feelings and emotions. Generally, a man who is spontaneous in expressing his feelings is a good heart individual. Because when you are spontaneous, there is no mind in play. And so what you express impacts the other more deeply than otherwise. A man can say, I love you 1,000 times, but still it will not touch the heart because it is not spontaneous, it is not natural. But imagine that you are driving or walking with an old friend, and suddenly from nowhere, it was not even in your mind, it was not even planned, and spontaneously you look into the eyes of your old friend and say, I love you. And the miracle has happened. The friend is in tears. Tears start flowing through his eyes. Your words have touched his heart because those words have come spontaneously from the depth of your heart. And whatsoever comes from your heart always reaches and moves the other heart. Ketu brings this nature of being spontaneous, and Rahu in Ketu's Ashwini Nakshatra makes the person more spontaneous. Always remember, life is only if you live it raw. When you live it in all its wilderness, when you live it naturally, spontaneously. You are spontaneous only when your mind is absent. Spontaneity is the fragrance of no mind. Whenever you are spontaneous, you look beautiful. Reminds me of a story, the story of Mary. Mary was one of the greatest lover of Jesus. She was truly devoted to Jesus, and so one afternoon she comes and pours a very expensive perfume on Jesus' feet. Jesus smiles, but Judas is angry. Judas must be a communist because he says to Jesus, how can she pour such an expensive perfume? We could have fed the whole town from the price of such an expensive perfume. And why you allowed her? Jesus looked into the eyes of Judas and said, not knowing how to express her feelings, spontaneously she has poured this perfume on my feet. Unable to express her love by pouring this perfume on my feet, she has expressed her love. How can I stop her? The poor will always be with you, but I will not always be with you. You can feed the poor later when I am gone, but I cannot stop her. You can see only the perfume, I see her heart. I cannot say no to her in deep love, in deep overflowing, not finding a way to express. She has poured that perfume on my feet. I cannot say no to her. The heart is always spontaneous. Ashwini is always spontaneous. I humbly prostrate before the beautiful nakshatra of Ketu, Ashwini. One who is spontaneous, one who has a pure heart, one who follows the voice of the heart. Start is very important. There are millions of people out there who want a second chance to start a new life. Ashwini gives this opportunity to start again. And Rahu in Ashwini never give up. Reminds me of the greatest freedom fighter of India, Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak. His whole book on Bhagavad Gita was burned by the cruel British jailer. But Tilak was not a common soul. When his whole book that he had authored while in jail was destroyed by the British officer, he said, Punashya Sri Ganeshaya, meaning, let's start again. And Lokmanya Tilak composed the book again, a whole book of over 500 pages. That was how his spirit was, high, and that is how tall Lokmanya Tilak was. Your height is not based on how many feet you are tall, but how strong is your willpower and how deep is your understanding. Rahu in Ashwini has the spirit of starting up. No matter how many times you knock down these natives, they will stand up and start again. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Starting is important, initiating is important. In the old days, the monarchy would fear that if a person establish his own empire, then it will be difficult to manage him, because now he has become independent. Now he is no more our vassal, but has become the king. That is how the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb became worried when he heard the news that Shivaji Maharaj has established his own kingdom, Swarajya, that he was formally crowned as the Chhatrapati, meaning the emperor of his kingdom. And Shivaji Maharaj was the only man after centuries to establish the first secular state, the state of Swarajya, that later blossomed under the rule of the mighty Peshwas. And then a time came when the Mughal Empire became a vassal of the great Marathas. You see how the tables turn? Just a start, just the establishment of a new kingdom, and slowly, the Marathas grew in leap and bounds while the Mughal Empire started declining. You just need to start. Many people will stop you from starting because many are aware that once you start, nobody can stop you. Buddha always said that you need to start meditating. You need to start turning inwards. You need to start accepting your mistakes. Those who listened to his words progressed in life. Start brings progression. Ashwini brings progression. The only message for Rahu in Ashwini natives is that just as you know when to start, you also should know when to stop. And you should stop only when you have gone all the way, not until then. Buddha says there are only two mistakes one can make along the road to truth: not going all the way and not starting. Meditate and remember to start again every time you fail. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. A fighter always wins, not because he is strong, but because he never give up. Be a fighter and never give up. Meditate.